All right, everybody, welcome back to another r/off my chest. Thank you for clicking on Reddit Reads with B. Let's hop into some of these really great, interesting stories confessions, you should say. Hope you've all had a really good day so far, and these are going to be some really, really good, interesting Reddit confessions. So kick back, relax, and enjoy. We got an hour-long video today, and enjoy some of the Reddit or some of the Minecraft gameplay while I read these Reddit stories. Doing some interior stuff as well as a little bit of entrance, big old staircase going into the house. So I hope you enjoy. To start off is from Simply Hopeful 4043. So this is titled "My Best Friend is Stupidly Rich," and it's actually baffling to me. So my 19 male best friend Ryan, in quotations, is 20. M is stupidly rich. Oh, so my 19 male best friend Ryan, 20 male, so is he 19 or 20, is stupidly rich. Comes from a really wealthy family. I didn't know this for a while after we met because he didn't look like a stereotypical rich guy. Smart. He keeps you from getting robbed. He keeps a very simple look. Jackets, plain shirts, sweats, and the same sneakers for everything. Nothing designer. He never bragged about the money he comes from either. He never talked about it. That I can honestly appreciate. As you would for most people that have a lot of money, you'd hope they wouldn't just rub it in your face. But then I started to pay closer attention. First, I noticed he never paid attention to the price of anything. He only ever did it when he had to split the cost with me and any of our other friends, so we weren't paying too much. Well, I mean, at least he's nice with it, making sure you don't pay too much. Then he mentioned how he travels the world with his family, but initially said that it was because his dad's line of work. Makes sense. But then I later found out that they also do this for vacation at least once a year. Vacation once a year makes you stupidly rich. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of vacation. I know this because he invited me to the one they went this spring. Wow. Getting invited, did you go? That's the real question here. Like the whole 9 yards. Beach house right off the ocean, right by these places that sell fancy cocktails, but no actual neighbors besides that, so they got a lot of land. Sounds like they're living lavish. I couldn't go, unfortunately, but they even paid for my plane ticket without even glancing at the price, before we found out that I couldn't go. That's insane. This was all crazy to me on its own, but then the thing that dawned on me just how rich he was the fact that he's never had a job. He's 20 years old and has never had a job. Don't get me wrong, he's a very responsible guy and has a great work ethic, but he's never had to hold down a job before because his parents cover everything. His car, his tuition, the things he buys at college, and all of his appointments. All covered by his parents. Sign me up. Where do I get adopted? Like, I have to cover my own tuition, medical appointments, groceries, and other necessities at college, and so I have to work at every extra available shift that I can, so that I have so I won't have to debate with myself: do I save this for tuition or use it to help me treat the thing that's been bothering me for years? In parentheses or in quotations, my physical health is garbage. I'm sorry to hear that. Ryan lives in the gated community of his hometown, while my friends from high school avoided my place since it's, in quotations, too ghetto. And Ryan once covered my dinner for me since him and two of our friends wanted me at this restaurant with them. And when he got back, he just said, "You owe me $26 whenever you want to get back with me with that." Back to me with that. I'm like, "Are you serious? $26 feels like a ton of money," and he acts like it's nothing, which I guess it is. I'm just really cheap. And the thing is, he never brags either. We're kind of like Cooper and Oliver from American Housewife, just not gay. Dot dot dot. For each other. Yes, Ryan is gay and I'm bi, but we're not each other's types. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. It just baffles me that he's so modest and humble, yet clearly comes from big money. I mainly post on here because I can never tell anyone in my personal life that. Interesting. Well, Simply Hopeful 4043. My take is, the first thing that stands out to me, I don't think $26 is that much money. I've covered much more for friends before, or even just like covered it, not had them pay me back. Like, that's just the kind of person I am personally. Not everyone's like that, or some people are offended if you try and pay for their stuff. So I don't really know that sort of situation or relationship that y'all have. But number two, great for Ryan, in quotations, Ryan. But I don't think that you have the right to be upset at all. It doesn't seem like he really rubs it in your face from what I can see. These are things more like observations that you've had. I personally think the $26, if he's never had a job and like he doesn't pay for anything, maybe he's on a strict budget, like it's a like an allowance from his parents or something. I don't really know his situation, obviously. But, I mean, I would think that he would just, waive it or be like, you just don't even worry about it. I mean, it's $26, especially if I guess his parents in that situation bought your plane ticket. Just sounds like his family does very well, and, I'm sorry that you can't talk about anybody in your personal life like that, but, I mean, it does sound a little bit like jealousy. I'm not saying that you're overly jealous. I don't know that you are jealous. It just seems that maybe you're coming from a standpoint of like, oh, he has all this, and it's completely opposite of what I have, and so maybe you're not intentionally trying to come across that way, but it seems like he's a pretty nice individual, and his family are, from what I can see, especially how offering and giving they are. But I don't understand if you're complaining about it or if you're just like wanting to talk about it. I don't understand what you're so baffled by, more so just like the fact that his family's had so much money, or what the situation is. But I mean, hopefully you guys have a good relationship and he doesn't like turn into one of those people that throws his money in your face. But so far it seems like he's a pretty good person from what I can see. Let's go on to these comments. So Jode Nage, first commenter, says, I'm so confused on whether this family is wealthy or upper middle class. I know that he says he comes from, in quotations, big money, but that's all relative too. Taking annual vacation and being able to float a friend for $26 restaurant tab could be an upper middle class thing. Someone responded with, yeah, he could be super rich, but not having to work as a teenager, having a college fund and an international trip per year could all solidly be upper middle class stuff. So it doesn't feel like that's enough to say definitively. I mean, yeah, his parents could just be really good with money, or I don't know where the trips are to. Like, I don't know if they're like going to Venice and spending, $1,000 on a meal or something. I don't know if $1,000 meals in Venice, but, or if they're going to like Georgia, and, like in a cabin or something. But you said a beach house, so, clearly they have some money if you're being able to afford a beach house. And that's not their only house, I'm assuming. Someone replied to that as well. Yeah, honestly, he just sounds like he's upper middle class. What's described here doesn't really sound like big money and super wealthy to me, except for paying the plane ticket part. But if they're really good friends and they've known out for a long time, I could see that happening for upper middle class. Regardless, he sounds like a real one. He does sound like a real one for real. I mean, the Redditor also responded with, he's a real one for real. So he does sound like a really good friend, but I mean, I don't know that I'd call him super loaded. I mean, it's not like they're taking, you're saying it's like a PJ, but paying for your play check or for your plane ticket without knowing whether you could go or not definitely sounds like they have some coin to throw around. So I definitely think that he's not middle class, upper middle class, or low high class. I don't really know how the class systems work, if there's like a dollar figure or if it's like assets or what. Next Redditor, affectionate word 779, says, y'all act like people with money are inherently supposed to be bad people, or that enjoying their money makes them bad. I come from absolutely nothing. My parents both from third world villages. I grew up in poverty and worked weird jobs for 20 years. Through some weird luck and hard work, I made my way to kind of high up in corporate America. I make over $300,000 a year, and if I can still afford it, I'd love to let my kids enjoy their youth rather than do what I did, as long as they're mature and responsible adults. I mean, yeah, affectionate word 779. I mean, awesome, making over $300,000 a year. That's amazing. Most people never even reach that feat. I think I remember reading something in high school that was like, some people make in their whole life, or a majority of people make in their whole life, like less than $600,000 overall. And that's just an interesting perspective to be put into. Absolutely. And as long as your kids are responsible, I think it's awesome for you to be able to spoil them and let them live out their childhood in college and not have to worry about like those bills and finances. Some people definitely don't have that luxury or that opportunity, but if you can, I totally would agree with you that I would do the same for my children. Alrighty, everybody. So second story is going to be from Throw Y. And the Redditor titled their story, I'm engaged, but I think that I love someone else. Ooh, spicy. I, female, 23, think I am in love with my best friend. In a normal world, this wouldn't be so bad, except in my circumstances, I can imagine anything worse. Dun dun dun. For context, I've been a single mother since 2022. I met this friend online in 2023, and we were flirty back then, and I knew I had feelings which I couldn't quite describe with words, but he had disappeared for a bit. He lost access to his account, and after his previous phone broke and he had forgotten his phone number, but in the meantime, forgotten to give his phone number. He didn't forget his phone number. I would have been a lot more confused then. But in the meantime, he never stopped trying to find me. I was heartbroken back then, and assuming he just suddenly never contacted me again. She thought she got ghosted. So I moved on, but I always look back at our chats. Oh, it's kind of sad. Then in 2024, I met my current partner. Everything went well at the beginning. We moved in quickly and got engaged. He also took on a fatherly role to my son, but slowly the anger issues kicked in. He started throwing stuff, and he also grabbed me by the throat once in a heated argument, but yet he always has been nice to my son. Once it gets physical, man, that's a line for me that just is crossed, and I feel like that's kind of like a line in the sand, once you cross it, there's no going back. Or like more so no staying together, in my opinion at least. I tried to break it off with my fiance last year, but I didn't manage. He kept trying to convince me, so I said yes. Then, suddenly last year, my friend who I thought was lost turned up again. At first I was hurt and skeptical, but he showed me all the random people he messaged trying to find me. From the start he said he didn't want to be a homewrecker, so he backed off slightly. Still occasionally checking up on me, but now the last few months we've been good in contact again. He would honestly give up the world for me. He only confides in me, and I've more than once gotten drunk messages and voice memos where he says he loves me and that I deserve better than, in quotations, any man could ever give me. Sounds like he really likes you. Earlier this week, after he's had a rough time with loneliness, and I needed to go somewhere after a major argument with my fiance, I went over to his flat. Nothing happened besides us sitting on 2 office chairs meters apart, just talking and giggling. Even when I knew it was time to go, yet I still managed to linger for an hour longer before he dropped me off. Not before he showed me every available house and asked me to buy a house with him. He's committed, that's for sure. I've missed him every day since, and his mental health has been worse and worse, so he's taken a distance. I think I might love him, and the distance is making me panic. I feel so stupid. I'm engaged with someone who doesn't make me feel as happy and safe, but now I can't do anything or else I'll destroy my son who's become attached. That's definitely a pretty tough situation to be in. Honestly, it's super sad to say and super hard to accept, but I think that you should leave your fiance for sure, especially if him getting physical. I couldn't imagine if he's gotten physical in front of your son, what image that portrays to your son is what's okay. I think that, you wouldn't want your son or any child of yours, I'm sure, to stay in an abusive relationship. So you should set that example for yourself and make sure that you're not staying in an abusive relationship where clearly you're not cared about, at least to the point that you would like to be. Now, I can't say that it's not a tough situation to be in, absolutely. But what I can say is that you don't deserve to be physically abused by any means. So regardless if your son's become attached, I think that in the long run, you'll be doing him more of a favor than anything, making sure he's not around someone who abuses his mom. And 2, it sounds like you're going to be a lot happier with that guy. Now, I don't have the best advice on, handling baby daddies and ex-partners and things like that. Like, that's a realm in itself of advice I can't give. But this is definitely a situation where I think you should, give back the ring or keep the ring. I don't know, up to you. Leave and start a better life or a better situation, rather, somewhere else, whether that's with a best friend or, not. But what you got to do for sure is make sure that your child is in a, stable and safe environment. Let's move on to these comments. So there's actually just one comment from Puff 97. You absolutely can leave your abusive partner. In fact, you should. Even if your kid is attached, why would you ever want your son near that man? If he can hurt you, he can easily hurt your son too. Absolutely. And it will escalate to that point. You need to leave even if your son may not understand right now. But it will get better over time, and eventually you can tell your son why you did what you did. Absolutely. I think they're right that, I don't know how... Did you say how old your kid was? Okay, well, I don't know how old your son is, but you can only be so old. But I'm assuming he's still in the single digits. But I think that, definitely your son wouldn't understand probably the whole situation right now, but you definitely need to separate yourself from a bad partner that's doing bad things to you. And I agree with Puff 97. Well, eventually, escalate to your son having, these violent, bad things done to them when he doesn't agree with him or do something that he told him to. So I think that Puff Puff 97 and I are thinking the same, that you need to definitely get out of the situation and maybe pursue that other guy, especially if it'll be a much better situation for you and your son. All right. Story number 3 is from Sad Chickie. My sister has become obsessed with having my disability. Oh. This should be interesting. Context. When I was 6 years old, my primary care doctor notified that I had a heart murmur and referred me to a cardiologist. At age 8, I was officially diagnosed with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos, as I align with all the symptoms perfectly. Since then, I've dealt with endless doctor and specialist appointments, surgery, procedures, chronic pain, subluxing joints, and serious comorbidities. Whew! That is a list. I wouldn't wish my condition on anyone, and I personally am extremely lucky that the early diagnosis has allowed me to take great care of my body to the point where I'm still mobile and active 20 plus years later. With limitations, of course. However, I do rely on a cocktail of prescriptions to do so. I know that I practically live on a timer, and at any point could experience serious complications that could set me back or even permanently take away all my independence. That's so sad. Now, onto the story. I can't particularly remember when it began, but I want to say around 4-ish years ago, my sister started talking about how she thought she had my condition. Now, my sister is by no means the healthiest person, but she has a history of lying and being sick and exaggerating her symptoms. She is diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and all the symptoms she described to me over the years align with it. Not Ehlers-Danlos. She also has a bunch of mental health conditions. Despite this, and even me telling her multiple times throughout the years, she seems to have become obsessed with having Ehlers-Danlos. I've also mentioned to her many times that if she truly believes she has it, she needs to seek a diagnosis for it. She has not, and it then continues to talk about how she thinks she has it, or even says she has it mildly, in quotations. Her symptoms? Stretchy face skin and curvy cervix. She has said that some of her doctors have even said that they think she has it, but I don't know what she is telling them. I mean, why wouldn't they give you a referral to go get checked out by a specialist if that's the case? But that's neither here nor there. The scariest part is she has projected this onto her 1-year-old son, thinking how he has it because of his soft skin. Wow, imagine a baby having soft skin, right? It hasn't been that long since this started, but I'm starting to get to my breaking point. And at this point, it feels like she is romanticizing it and wants another scapegoat for her inability to do anything and everything. I feel disrespected by her lack of understanding of how serious my condition is. She constantly brings it up, and I don't need any more reminders of my ticking timer than I already have. I have thought about cutting her out of my life many times, but it's hard since she lives with my parents and I worry for her child. Too long didn't read. My sister is obsessed with having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, despite obviously not having it, and constantly talks to me about how she thinks she has it. Good TLDR. Well, your sister definitely sounds like a hypochondriac. I can't imagine what kind of Munchausen syndrome she's going to give to her son by pushing on this severe diagnosis onto him, saying that he has it. Number 2, I'm sorry that you're going through this. That really sucks. It's definitely could feel like minimizing your condition for sure by them trying to, it seems like, make it all about them and be like, oh, I have it too. But I think maybe you should cut them out of your life, but obviously I know that you're worried about your nephew as well as, I'm sure, your sister, but clearly it seems that your sister is to the point where she's been like this for a long time, and maybe to the point where you can't really change that, or, where you don't want to put the effort in, and it's not your responsibility at the end of the day, let's be honest. Now, as far as the diagnosis and everything goes, got no clue on that. Not a doctor. I'm recording a YouTube video right now. You think I'd be doing that if I was a doctor? Now, I hope that she doesn't have that. That would be terrible. But also, I hope that your situation gets better and that hopefully you don't just out of nowhere just drop and become immobile. That would really suck. Let's move on to these comments. All right, Wretched Honky 28. Sounds like histrionic personality disorder. My sister also has this and does exactly the same thing. I probably pronounced that incorrectly. He said, when I was incorrectly diagnosed with bipolar 2, somehow she was diagnosed with the same thing 3 weeks later, and it's all about her since. I've had crippling anxiety and panic disorders with very specific triggers and symptoms my entire life. It used to ruin my family trips and outgoings almost constantly. And magically, when she was well into her 20s, she had the exact same symptoms and triggers for her anxiety. She's never once displayed before, and it's all she talks about, even to me. Not only does she bring it up every chance she gets, but my parents do as well. She wants the attention of her no matter what. She's even gotten to the point where, excuse me, almost immediately after two of my other sisters got pregnant and had their children, in quotations, they had overlapping pregnancies, she got pregnant whilst she was on birth control. While with the guy she was seeing for 7 months baby, oh wow, that's a better story right there. 7 months, known each other and they have a baby, or having a baby. I know it happens, but the chances of it happening in this situation are less than zero. My stepmom and my dad both baby the shit out of her, and it's infuriating. Not because I want the attention she's getting. I actually hated the attention I'd get from having panic attacks in public or in my home. I'm more angry that growing up, I was always in trouble for ruining everyone else's time while she was being called her for the exact same shit. Yeah, that's terrible. Histrionic personality disorder is hard to diagnose because you essentially need the help of friends or family in the therapy space to point out certain things, as people with it have no awareness of how attention-seeking they can be. I'm not saying your sister has it 100%, but it sounds so much like my experience with my sister that I can't help but to bring it up. Original poster replied, "Wow, that sounds incredibly frustrating. I'm sorry you've had to deal with that." Yeah, that sounds terrible. Sounds like a sibling from hell. Redditor Omnix-13C replied, "Wow, this is frustrating. Don't let it live written free in her head. She may truly believe she has the condition, or maybe it's for the attention. Either way, all you can do is say, wow, maybe. Doesn't hurt to go see a doctor and get checked out. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Let's hope you don't have it." And then ignore it. Don't engage in any more conversations than that. If she brings up the nephew, say, "Wow, did the pediatrician say when you told him that he has soft skin?" Absolutely, really just, I agree with Omnix 13C. She clearly, if she is attention seeking, I'm not going to say she is, because I don't know her, but if she is attention seeking, then don't play into it. Just be like, wow, that's terrible. I couldn't imagine. Or, well, you could imagine because you have it, but I wouldn't wish this on anybody. I really hope that you don't have it. Or, maybe even push for her to go get checked out, because then if she, fights it, that could even be suspicious, in my opinion. No, I don't want to know. Like if you had a serious condition like that, wouldn't you want to know? Oh, maybe that's just me. And then the next Redditor, Fairy Fart Daydreams. Elite name we got there. Aren't there genetic tests to confirm this or similar nowadays? Tell her that she needs to get tested and ask the pediatrician. If your nephew should be tested because of the familial link. Absolutely. I mean, genetics are definitely play a heavy role in a lot of things. I don't know if it's something passed on by genetics or just something in the developmental process when you're being, created, if you will, when you're in the womb developing, whatever you want to say. But it definitely is something to be checked out, especially if, is to the point to where you could be immobile. I would hate for that to happen. Alrighty. I think that's going to be it. We're going to move on to this next story. Alrighty. We got ecstatic_vacation37. I just realized I've been the toxic one in every relationship I've ever had, and I don't know what to do with that. Well, acknowledging it is the first. So, I'm 34, male, and I've been telling myself the same story for about 15 years. Every relationship ends, and I tell my friends she was crazy, or she changed, or we just weren't compatible. And they believe me because I'm the calm one. I'm the reasonable one. I never raise my voice. My ex from last year told me I was emotionally unavailable, and the one before that said I made her feel invisible. The one before that said loving me was like loving a wall. I brushed all of it off. 3 different women saying basically the same thing, and I thought the problem was them. Last month, I was clearing out old messages on my phone and ended up reading back through arguments with all 3 of them. And it was the same thing every time. She'd be upset, she'd be reaching out for something, and I'd just go flat. 1 or 2 word replies, waiting for it to be over. I wasn't reading it as me being calm anymore. I was reading it as me being gone. I sat in my car for 20 minutes after that, because seeing it from the outside, in my own words, in 3 different relationships, years apart, there was no version of it that was their fault. I don't yell because I shut down instead. I don't cheat because I don't let anyone close enough for it to matter. I'm not calm and reasonable. I'm disconnected. and that disconnection isn't neutral. It's actually brutal to be the one receiving and on the receiving end of it. I just never had to feel it because I'm the one doing it. The worst part is I think I learned it from my dad. He was the same way. My mom would be upset about something, and he'd just go quiet and wait for it to pass. I thought that was maturity. It's not. It's its own kind of cruelty, and it's the kind that nobody calls you out on because you look like the good guy from the outside. Always thought codependent people had the problem, and I was fine because I don't need anyone. But not needing anyone isn't a strength. I built my entire personality around being vulnerable, and that's not strength. It's armor, and the armor is the thing that keeps hurting people. I couldn't stop turning it over for days. At one point, it's like 1 a.m., I did one of those attachment quizzes on tarot, half expecting nonsense, and I put words to the withdrawal thing, and where it gets learned better than I could. No. And it put words to the withdrawal thing, and where it gets learned better than I could. That just sounds like weird wording to me. Didn't fix anything, obviously, but it was just the first time the pattern had a name that wasn't just, he's the calm one. I don't really know what to do with all this. I'm looking into therapy, but the waiting lists where I am are insane. I just needed to say it somewhere because I've never said it out loud before. I was the toxic one. Every time. I had no idea. Hey man, that's very mature to acknowledge it. Moving on to my take. I think that, yeah, the first thing is recognizing that you were the problem and that you were the one being the catalyst of these problems, if you will. Looking back and reflecting and realizing that you were creating these issues and that it wasn't them, that it was you basically being, as I said, emotionally unavailable or just not present or not caring. I mean, that definitely destroys a relationship. I'm sorry it took you 15 years to figure it out, but better than 16, 17, or 18 years. Now, I think that the moving forward is making sure that you recognize that you're doing this and not doing it anymore. Because if you continue the same pattern, then obviously you haven't learned anything. I think that keeping this in mind, and when you go into your next relationship, if there's the next one, is going to do what's best for you. But yeah, I think you're taking the first step in the right direction to do better. Alrighty. Now, going on to these comments. Recognizing this is crucial. Absolutely not, Sutherland. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my ranting. That was a reply by the original poster, whose name is Ecstatic Vacation 37. I'm not too different as I've gotten older. Disconnected, distant. If I could be a hermit somewhere, I would. Even being a father, I feel this way sometimes. I hate it too, because I feel less human because of it. My marriage has suffered immensely from it as well. We've basically been roommates for years at this point. That's unfortunate, not Sutherland. Next Redditor replied, their name is Mastiff Time Traveler. Okay. Tell me the winning lottery numbers. Can relate. I've saved this on my phone to share with others who are in the midst of their "oh, it's me" moment. Take what you like and leave the rest. Awareness, acceptance, action. Real lasting change doesn't happen fast. It's a slow process, and it isn't linear. You're in awareness right now. Great. Be open to realizing what actions and ways of thinking are no longer serving you. Journal about the yuckiest things and think about your actions and the role you've played in things. This phase is hard, but the more honest you are with yourself, the better. Then comes acceptance. Everyone wants to skip this part, but it's the most critical. Acceptance means understanding why you acted the way you did and how those dangerous thought patterns came to be. Chances are there's trauma and pain where you need to understand. Most importantly, be kind to yourself. You're not the biggest piece of shit in the world. In fact, thinking you're the biggest piece of shit is just as toxic as thinking you can do no wrong. It's a great way to look at that. Accept that you're lovable, faults and all. Therapists are great at guiding you through this process, but there are support groups too if you can't afford therapy. And finally, only after you've gained awareness of your actions and accepted why you are the way you are, and that you're still worthy of love, are you finally ready to take the action. Begin testing the waters, but keep going back to what you previously learned to monitor your growth. You will slip, and that's okay. The trick is to let the slips affect you less and recover from them faster than before. Learn from them and understand why they happened. Celebrate why you notice your growth too. You deserve to acknowledge how far you've come. Absolutely. I mean, not that I think everyone deserves a little prize for every small thing they do, or giving, a participation trophy for being, recognizing that you're not right, if you will. I think that's important is, definitely giving yourself the credit where credit's due of like, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're acknowledging that you're wrong and that you're not been, handling these situations the best, but you're moving on from that and you want to do better. And I think that's the most important. Like, and obviously you're going to make mistakes again, as they're saying, but it's not that you make mistakes again. It's how you handle those mistakes. You know what I mean? And obviously if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, that's a bigger conversation, but just making a mistake or even making multiple mistakes, as long as it's not the same mistake over and over and over again, I think is perfectly fine and human. Let's go to this next story. Now, this next story definitely is something that I think is kind of gross, kind of a disgusting thing. But I mean, at least based off the title, I haven't read the story. Obviously, you're getting my blind reaction, but it's titled "Becoming a Mom Ruined My Life," and I think that's terrible because, recently becoming a father myself, that's the best thing that's ever happened in my life, apart from meeting my fiance, the one that became the mother of my child. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened, and for someone to say that it ruined their life is terrible to hear as a new parent and personally. So let's see what Confident Peace 6937 has to say. Being a mom sucks. If I could turn back time and not meet my current partner, I would do it. I'd give my left lung to not be a mother. Wow. That's terrible. At 5 months postpartum, I asked my GP, general practitioner, to refer me to a gynecologist to get my tubes tied. We had a horrible roundabout conversation about how I'm not making a decision from exhaustion, pain, or anxiety. I asked for medical service to be provided to me, so why do I have to convince a psychiatrist that I'm emotionally stable enough to get my tubes tied? Oh, maybe general psychologist? I don't really know what GP is short for. The conversation was so awful for me because it felt like she was about to ask me to get permission from my partner to get my tubes tied. I mean, I don't think you should have to ask partner permission, but I mean, I definitely think that it seems like they're being concerned for you about if you're making postpartum depression and things can make you do some pretty wild things. Having a baby is awful. The contractions, the epidural, the stitches, and the never-ending exhaustion that comes after. The moment I popped my baby out was the moment I stopped being me. I'm in my very early 20s, and I was just beginning to figure out who I am, and all the internal work went down the drain in the space of 36 hours. I have no ambition whatsoever. I've lost my sense of self, and the only thing I can do is get through the day. And that is becoming more challenging day by day, because I'm fighting for a life that I do not want. Becoming a mother is the worst thing that happened to me, mentally, physically, and psychologically. There are some parts of me that I will never reclaim no matter how hard I try. I'm lost, and I'm not sure I want to find my way or dig myself out of the hole I'm in. I had postpartum depression and anxiety. Until today, I still check if my toddler is breathing while she's asleep. During my postpartum depression tenure, I opened up to my mother and my partner. Both said I was lazy and needed to go outside and touch some grass. I hate motherhood and becoming a family. I hate that I have to make dinner, clean the house, take note of what we need, maintain our social calendar, etc. This isn't the life I wanted for myself. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I wake up every day and I'm living in my nightmare. I've officially become the worst version of myself while pretending to be the best I've ever been. The greatest loss of all this is losing my privacy. I can mess up privately, cry about it, and fix it myself. These days I cry during nap time and after bedtime at 7 p.m. I can't even go to the toilet by myself because my kid is walking and opening doors. I had the dignity of messing up and not having to involve everyone in it because it only affected me. Now, if I mess up, I have to tell all the relevant parties and get an earful about what I should have done. I've lost my zest for life. The passion I had to do something and be someone, now all I want to do is get through the day. Life is not worth living, and hasn't been since I was a kid. Or since I had a kid, rather. Motherhood sucks. It's terrible, horrible, no good. I genuinely hate it here. Edit. Spoke to my GP yesterday and got on sertraline. I know it will take a while, but I'm hopeful. Thank you for all your responses. That was immediately going to be what I was going to say. I wasn't going to be prescribing medication. Let me clarify that. But my take is that you definitely are still struggling with some severe postpartum depression and maybe anxiety, or especially about the baby, still worrying if they're sleeping through the night or checking their chest for breathing. Not that that's not normal, but if you're getting some serious anxiety over it, or like someone's going to like hurt you or the baby with not any good reasoning, and, the various other things that can go along with postpartum depression and anxiety, or just, having a child recently. Obviously, I'm a man, you can hear from my voice. And if you didn't, well, now I'm telling you. Obviously, I cannot speak from a personal standpoint, but having seen my fiance just going through this and currently actively going through this, I know it is not easy at all. And I think that you talking to your psychiatrist, I'm guessing that's who that is, or GP, yesterday, and getting it's either like a psychiatrist or a general practitioner or both. You said psychiatrist and GP, so I'm really confused, but I'm trying my best here. At least, that you're getting the medical attention you need, and starting off on some SSRI is probably best for you. I don't have a medical degree of any sorts, but from reading that, it definitely sounds like you're having some serious issues struggling with postpartum, whether that's PPD or PPA. But I wish you the best, and I wish you the best on your family. I hope this isn't how you truly feel. I do think that's a pretty terrible thing to say. And hopefully in a few months, or hopefully not a few months, but hopefully in a few weeks, whenever the sertralines kind of hit your system actively, whether you need to go up in dose and whatnot. But once it's regulated how you're feeling and things like that, I really hope that you come back on here and give an update that everything is looking better and that you actually love being a mom. Because I can speak for me and my partner for sure that becoming parents has been easily the best thing that's ever happened in our life, and made us want to do so much. And that's actually one of the reasons why I love reading these Reddit stories and posting them online, is because my daughter will at some point be able to come back and read through and hear all these crazy, juicy stories. Her mom and I both love, juicy drama and confessions, if you will. We watch reality TV and whatnot, so I'm sure she'll like this as well. And if she does, I hope she comes back and listens to all these, because I love being her dad, and I love that, for the past 4 months, having my daughter's been easily the best thing, other than meeting my partner, that's ever happened. Redditor Shimmering Nothing replies with, "Why are you the one that has to make dinner, clean the house, manage the to-do list? Why is your partner calling you lazy? Why are you sidelining your own medical care? Why do you get criticized constantly? In parentheses, get an earful about what I should have done. People here are saying PPD, but it sounds like a rational reaction to an unfair situation." I mean, I think that definitely could be a combination of both. It definitely sounds like some postpartum depression or anxiety as well, but I did forget to highlight in my response. I do think that the reaction to her surroundings and to what's supposed to be her village, if you will, her support system, is pretty terrible as well. And I couldn't imagine someone saying that to my fiance after having our child. I think that's extremely disrespectful. You're lazy and you need to touch grass. I mean, what the hell kind of response is that, really? That's not what you should be saying to a mom who's freshly postpartum and is basically, from what I can see, pleading for some help here. Maybe you need to have a serious conversation with your partner about being supportive, or about how your family and people are, you feel like people are coming on to you, because if that's something you can do. If your partner's not like that, that's kind of a different conversation. And you're doing all this postpartum and have a new baby. I think that you definitely deserve some credit, taking care of the house, managing the to-do list, social calendar, etc. It definitely is terrible that you're being made out that to do nothing. That could be super defeating and also make you feel like crap. So there's a lot of factors going into it, I feel. Next comment is from Popsicle. Just a gentle reminder that being a mother is not, in quotations, cleaning the house, taking note of what we need, maintaining our social calendar. Your partner can and should be stepping up with these tasks, because motherhood itself is draining without these extras that we feel pressured to take on. Absolutely. Like, one thing that I didn't think of this of myself, but I did see it on social media, was about 2 weeks after our daughter was born, I noticed that, like one of the most important things for mom is getting good sleep and good rest. Or not one of the most, but a very, very important thing. And that's something I definitely wanted to do for my partner. So I told her that I would take over nights for indefinitely. My partner has not woken up in the middle of the night to take care of the baby. I think maybe once when I was not feeling good at all. Since our daughter is 2 weeks old and she's now 4 months old. And I love that. I mean, at times, obviously, it can be frustrating getting up in the middle of the night, especially if your baby's, being difficult or not wanting to feed or go back to sleep and, a lot of different things. But more importantly, I thought it was important for my partner to be getting the rest and support they need. And so I'm assuming you're probably taking care of them overnight as well. I don't know. And that's just based off my assumption, based off of everything else you've been saying. And I think that it definitely sounds like your partner needs to step up. I've done, for at least the first, I would say, month, my partner did almost no chores, maybe some like laundry that I handed her while she was sitting on the couch or something. But other than that, like sweeping, mopping, laundry, everything else, baby, like for the most part, after I would say that was taken care of by me. And I think it's really the bare minimum for a lot of those situations. But I'm ranting now. Anyway, on to the third and final comment. Sounds like your partner needs to be helping more. Agreed. Clock it. I agree with the other comments on depression, but also sounds like you've fallen into womanly duties role. This happens a lot even when couples say they won't let it happen. You need to re-examine your roles and discuss what's fair. Absolutely. You need to put your foot down and make sure that you're getting equal help, because it's not just your baby, it's both of y'all's baby. And at the end of the day, it's both of y'all's household too, I'm sure. I don't know if you guys have a discussion, like, they're, take care of the finances and everything. And even in that situation, I still think they should help to a certain extent, especially with around the house. And when you have, would you say a 5-month-old? Regardless, they should definitely be stepping up and helping you, no matter the age of your child or no matter how far your postpartum childhood doesn't stop because you're a breadwinner. I mean, parenthood doesn't stop because you're a breadwinner. These are all my assumptions, obviously, that he's a breadwinner if she's doing all this. And if he's not a breadwinner and she's not a stay-at-home mom and she's doing all this, then absolute kudos to you. That's insane. Let's move on to this next story. Alrighty. This is from FMND_303, sorry. My dad has an affair and I'm the only one who knows. I've always had a good relationship with my mom and my dad. They gave me a great childhood. My dad has been working for over 14 years away from home, and he visits every weekend. Yesterday I was with him and I ran out of battery and asked him for a cell phone so I could put the directions onto my house. I recently moved out. He was driving and I was on his phone when a message of a woman appeared saying, "I love you." I entered the chat and he had long conversations with her. Last week he didn't visit us, and suddenly he stopped answering calls for 2 days in a row. He said he had no internet or signal. Recently he said he will come by every 2 weeks because he is spending a lot of money traveling and needs to save. But soon I realized last week he was traveling with this other woman, and in the chats there were pictures of them together telling each other how much they love the trip and how in love they are. And not only that, but he had invited us, my mom and I, to dinners with her and her family. The other woman has kids as well. And that is just out of my mind of how insane this is. That's extremely disrespectful. Wow. Flying close to the sun for sure. He has a whole other life none of us know. He travels with her, goes out for dinner. They stay at each other's place. He even deposits her some money each week. Ugh. Suddenly my life came apart. If this person I think I know is no longer the same, my mom is the most wonderful and warm-hearted person I know. I know that he is a great dad, and I should put apart the image of him being a father and the image of him being a husband, but I can't. My heart just broke in half. Like if my trust in men is just suddenly broken, because if I can't trust my own dad, who I thought was my best dad, was the best dad, and husband for the way he treats my mom, I can't trust anyone. We are all humans, but if he wants to just F around and just get an effing divorce. He's not 20 anymore. For him to not know how to compromise. He is not 20 anymore. For him to not know how compromise works. Interesting. I'm so sad, and I can't confront him. At least not right now. I can't tell my mom because she will fall apart. They're going on a trip next week, and I'm just with this anger inside my body I feel I can't handle. That's all. Well, that's definitely a lot to hold on your shoulders. I can't imagine, having to deal with not only that, being the only one knowing this information, but with the fact that, knowing that telling your mom would break her heart, that you really don't feel like you can tell anybody. This is a ton of stuff. 14 years. So I wonder how long he's been doing this. 14 years away from home, and he only visits on the weekends. In all honesty, he could be living a double life. He could be telling them he only works on weekends and is at home all week with them. Or whatever. Hopefully none of those are like secret sibling. It just sounds like there's probably a lot going on here. I can't imagine how far these messages go back. Now for your mom, that's so sad. I can't imagine how she's going to react to this. That's really terrible. I don't think she deserves this, and I think that you should probably tell her. She deserves to know if she's being cheated on. Especially by someone she spent so much time with. I don't know how you are, but it's clear that he does not respect your mom, and he's out here cheating and being secretive and going on trips and living a double life. Essentially, that's preposterous stuff right there. And there's also the other option. Maybe your parents have some sort of predisclosed thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna run with that theory, but there's always that possibility. There's some couples out there that are together but have things that they do outside of that couple. So that could potentially be it. I think that being upfront and telling your mom is probably the best situation, and kind of seeing how she wants to handle it from there. But it's a lot for you to hold on as a burden, and I think that keeping it to yourself is going to do more damage than it is good. Moving on to these comments. Rocket MN69. Mail him an anonymous note from another town. We know about your cheating. You are despicable. You will fight for every penny to give to your wife. Now that is good. That is absolutely what you should do. You should just mess with him. It's clear to the point that he doesn't care. So drive him crazy. Make him feel so bad that he morphs into the person that he should have been all along. And then drop it off to your mom and let her make the decision. I think that at the end of the day, she should be the one that gets to decide what happens, because she's the one being done wrong. Maybe the other woman knows. Well, it's clear the other woman knows if you guys have been invited to or had dinners with them. So she's equally wrong. They're both terrible, disgusting people if they're doing this behind their partners' backs. Gather any evidence you can about your dad's cheating to show your mom, to prove the truth about your dad. Tell your mom before she goes on this trip with your dad, because when she learns that you knew and let her go on this trip, she will blame you for not telling her earlier. Possibility. And this trip will come to represent all of your father's lies bound together in one event. It's likely that some of this other woman's children are your half-siblings, and either your or this other family are his second family. Commiserations for your discovery of how deeply flawed your father is. Dang, nice pomegranate 2915 was on the same time and I was. Especially if it's been going on for 14 years, it's a very good possibility that maybe even she knows she's the other woman. Maybe she doesn't care. Or maybe they both are living a double life. And I agree with him. They might have some half kids in there. No, or half siblings rather, not half kids, because they're going to be whole kids, I'm sure. Now, different idea 8203 said, unfortunately, 14 years, your dad has been a weekend only dad. I think you're the second family, and your mother probably already knows. Dang, different idea 8203 is putting out there. That's something I didn't think about. Maybe you are the second family. Well, that begs the question, who is first? Who has the oldest kid? There's so many questions that I have that I would love a follow-up to this update. This is insane. Someone else said, I think your mom knows low-key. I hear you. My dad was gay and I was the only one who knew. Wow, these comment sections are full of gold. I'm sorry you found out this way. My mom told me my dad cheated on her when I was a baby, and I never looked at him the same. I mentioned it after she passed, and he said, your mom cheated on me too. I was just like, what? It's a possibility your parents might have an open marriage or even some kinks. Maybe just ask him about it. That's what I'm saying. Maybe being straightforward, because you might, maybe it's not something you want to know, but it could also hide you or save you from feeling this guilt that you're feeling right now. Alright, it looks like this is going to be the last story of the day. This is from Yo Mama's So Pretty, with 2 Y's. Pretty. I've never been this frustrated with my culture. From Yo Mama So Pretty. I come from India. I'm currently an international student in Europe. As such, whenever I need anything to cook traditional food, my go-to store is a small store nearby run by people from India. It was a cool store, and in the beginning I loved going there. You had a community, and the guy who runs the store was nice. Then suddenly, out of nowhere in a year, a lot of people stopped talking to me. I didn't know exactly what it was. The people working there stopped smiling at me. If I passed them, they would give me a wide berth. Even the dude who ran the store stopped talking to me, avoiding touching me when handing me the things, attending to me last if I had questions, even though I came before, answering questions like he was doing me a favor. I don't know, the whole thing was very, very subtle, but at the same time odd. To make it weirder, I had like 2 people who worked in the store who went out of their way to be sweet to me, like compensating for everything sweet. If the cashier tossed stuff in my direction once ringing it up, the dude would come to neatly put stuff in the bag. It was a bit odd. Well, the day before yesterday, I went to the store to buy some things. There was a lady there who seemed to be talking to the cashier. They were talking about his family back in Rajasthan. Hopefully I pronounced that right. His reasons for moving to the city, and most importantly, his caste. Anyways, long story short, they were discussing how important it was that the right people get to immigrate to keep our image clean, whatever it means. The whole conversation was odd, and I just ignored it. I ignored it, bought my stuff, and moved on. That's when I was on the bus. I realized a similar situation had happened to me. I had a pleasant conversation with an older person in line at the cashier. She kept pushing for information, like where exactly my family is from, what my parents do, what my full name is, etc. I answered truthfully in the beginning, but then it just became intrusive, and I stopped answering. Anyways, looking back at it now, it was pretty obvious what she was looking for, my caste. And when I didn't give it to her, maybe she must have reached their own conclusion about me. I'm guessing that like this is different like cultures and things. Caste. I am from South India. I have a very vague name that can sound like it comes from any region or any religion. I'm not sure what they must have thought about me. After that conversation, all the weird behavior started. Maybe I'm wrong, but there are a lot of other random things that support it. Judgment on the fact that I was buying spice for biryani and chicken. Just random jabs about how my people eat everything. I love my people, and these people seem to be the worst. Only people who have problem. These seem to be the people. What? I love my people, and these people seem to be the only people who have a problem with me. Wow, I just can't read today. But it's still so frustrating. When you come to another place, the worst parts of the culture follow you. I don't even know what to do. Just tell them my caste so they stop treating me like shit? It just feels so wrong. Coming to another continent and bringing your backwards thoughts with you in the guise of respect. We have a lot to deal with when it comes to racism and otherness. Why would you add to it? Why can't you get out of the last century? Why is it so important to hold on to these backward traditions? I love my culture, I love the traditions, and I love the festivals, food, dances, community, everything. Nothing in this world can make me ashamed of being who I am, but stuff like this really puts me off. I'm not even sure how to deal with this situation or react to this, because I'm not from a lower caste. This is the first time something like this has happened to me. Just an odd situation overall. Definitely. I definitely think it's weird, number one, just, I guess it's a last name thing, comes from any religion. I don't know if you meant religion or region. My fiance, she's Guyanese, Indian, and she tells me that there's a lot of, or Guyanese and Indian descendant, or however you properly say that. But she was telling me that, there's a lot of differences in, like, different regions that you come from in India, and, like, north, south, Telugu, and all the different distinctions and whatnot. Obviously, I'm not too experienced on what the differences are and who likes who and whatnot, but I just think that overall is odd. I never agreed with separating people like that. I just think that everyone should be treated equally, and everyone should be loved. Some people definitely deserve to have the crap beat out of them and for being bad people, but if no one was a bad person, no one would deserve that. Pretty simple. I'm sorry that this is following you, that it's clear that it's not changed since they left India when they came over here. I'm guessing the same as you. But at the end of the day, that's really frustrating, I'm sure, especially because I don't think that I think you're feeling right, and like you shouldn't have to like justify or like give out your information just so that they accept you. If they don't want to accept you, F them. Like, at the end of the day, I would probably find a different convenience store at the end of the day, in all honesty, just because why would you want to support these people or give these shallow individuals your money, you know? Alrighty. So first comment is from Janet in Spain. Caste systems are one of the worst things humans ever created. What if Einstein or Da Vinci had been born in an untouchable? How much would the world have lost? One reason I refuse to visit India is because it's backwards. Repressive, bigoted attitudes towards people in the wrong caste. A system that oppresses people for no reason at all. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think everyone should start on an equal playing field. I don't think it should matter which region or name or look or whatever you have. I think that if you're a good person, you want to do good things, you're smart, you have a good heart, or you want to just do overall good, or maybe you just don't want to just do anything at all. I don't think that you should be judged, and I don't think that you should have this weird caste system, which is like, it seems like it's impossible for people to move up or down. That it as I say, it is very backwards. Now I'm definitely gonna visit India one day, but I definitely wouldn't follow that ideology or play into it, at least. Someone replied to Janet in Spain. In the case of Einstein, that is what happened. When the Nazis came to power in 1933, he fortunately just got out in time. Also, if he had been born 150 years earlier, he would have been unable to be a scientist in Europe. Huh. Well, the more you know. Then Fang Wolf replied. Well, this is new Reddit, not replying to Janet in Spain. When I went to live abroad, I only said one thing when I came back. I saw the most India than India. I saw the most India than India itself. It's not in a good way. What does that even mean? That's what someone replied, and I agree with Trampled Empire. What does that even mean? Finally, last comment. You are being the victim of casteism. Casteism? Is that like racism? I asked my Indian friend. No. He said, racism is like casteism. Oh. Huh? You love your traditions. I guess casteism is older, is what he's trying to say. You love your traditions, and I understand that, but you also want to live in the 21st century. You can try to join the caste abolishment movement. It will be a long struggle, but in the end it will be worth it. So you don't have to experience things like this ever again. The edited judgment on the fact that I was buying spice for mix for biryani and chicken. Forgot to say, chicken biryani tastes very good. I tell my fiance all the time, I love chicken biryani. I love biryani and vindaloo. Those are really great. I tried something the other day called kadai, something like that, with some chicken, and it was really, really good too. I like the spices of it. Not as tomatoey based, I want to say. It was something else. Had like onions in it and whatnot. It was really, really good. And then I tried pani puri for the first time the other day. I think I butchered that a little bit, but man, I've been wanting to try it for so long because I've seen so many videos of it, and I gotta say, it was freaking delicious. Absolutely recommend 10 out of 10 pani puri. If you ever have the opportunity to try it, try it. Delicious. And this is gonna be the end of the video, actually. So don't have another time for another story. I got about 5 minutes left of some gameplay, so I hope you enjoy. You'll see me adding on to these stairs here. I have a whole lot of ideas for this house to come. I hope you guys enjoyed, and tune in for the next one. I'm trying to post 3 times a week, trying Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, but your boy's doing his best here. More views and more subscribers I have, I could upload every day for y'all. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.